Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. This is grade 9 English and I am your teacher, Mr. Jamil Malik. Today we will discuss more about phrases. Participle phrase. A participle phrase is a group of present participle, verb plus ing or a past participle verb, modifiers and other linked words. A participle phrase is punctuated with a comma or commas. It always acts as an adjective, modifying a noun in a sentence. Well, dear students, a participle phrase is a group of present participle. Present participle mean fourth form of verb. In other words, first form of verb plus ing is called fourth form of verb. So, a participle phrase is a group of a present participle, verb plus ing or a past participle verb, modifiers and other linked words. A participle phrase is punctuated with a comma or commas. It always acts as an adjective, modifying a noun in a sentence. Now we see these examples. Number 1, the students raising their hands demanded extra page. The students raising their hands demanded extra page. Well, dear students, if you look at this sentence and you see this underlined part, it is beginning with present participle, raise and ing. It is also called fourth form of verb. So, it is modifying the noun the students. Therefore, present participle is acting as an adjective over here in this sentence. Now look at example number 2. She got a mail mentioning about her exam. Again, this underlined part is beginning with present participle, mention and then ing. So, present participle over here is acting as an adjective as it is modifying the noun a mail. Now look at example number 3. The chair made of plastic looks very beautiful. If you see this underlined part, it is beginning with past participle. Whereas in first two examples, we were having present participles. In this example, we are having past participle. The chair made of plastic looks very beautiful. Made of plastic is beginning with past participle. So again, this phrase called past participle phrase is acting as an adjective as it is modifying the noun the chair. Now look at absolute phrase. Absolute phrase is also called a nominative phrase. It consists of a noun or a pronoun, a participle, and linked modifiers. It modifies, tells more about the sentence. It looks like a clause but lacks true finite verb. It is separated by a comma in a sentence, but it is not connected to the sentence by a conjunction. It could be removed from the sentence without changing the meaning of the sentence. I repeat, absolute phrase is also called a nominative phrase. It consists of a noun or a pronoun, a participle, and linked modifiers. It modifies, tells more about the sentence. It looks like a clause but lacks true finite verb. It is separated by a comma in a sentence, but it is not connected to the sentence by a conjunction. It could be removed from the sentence without changing the meaning of the sentence. Well, dear students, remember, an absolute phrase is a phrase which is not connected to the sentence by conjunction. It is always connected to the sentence by a comma. And if we remove absolute phrase from the sentence, it will not affect the meaning of the sentence. In other words, absolute phrase gives additional meaning to the sentence, but if it is removed from the sentence, it does not change the meaning of the sentence. Now look at these examples. Number 1, she is looking very much happy, her face expressing a shine of happiness. If you see this part of a sentence which is in bold form, it is connected to the sentence by a comma and not by a conjunction. At the same time, it is giving additional meaning to this sentence. She is looking very much happy. So it is an absolute phrase. Now look at example number 2. He having books in his hand was going to college. Well, dear students, if you read the sentence like this, he was going to college, it gives us a complete thought. But if we add absolute phrase in this sentence, it gives additional meaning to this sentence, and it gives us information about the subject, that what was he doing. He having books in his hand was going to college. Now look at example number 3. He having anger in his eyes met his enemy. He having anger in his eyes met his enemy. If you read the sentence like this, he met his enemy, it gives us a complete thought. But if we add absolute phrase, it gives additional meaning to the subject he. Number 4. Weather permitting, we shall meet in the evening. Well, we shall meet in the evening. It is a complete sentence, giving us a complete thought. And when we add this absolute phrase, it gives additional meaning to this sentence. Weather permitting, it means if weather is suitable, we shall meet in the evening. Now look at example number 5. God willing, we shall meet again. God willing, we shall meet again. Again, this sentence in bold form, in fact, this phrase in bold form, which is also known as absolute phrase, is giving us additional information about this sentence. Last example, the sun having risen, we set out on our journey. If we read the sentence like this, we set out on our journey, it gives us a complete thought. On the other hand, when we add absolute phrase, it gives us information about this sentence. I mean, it gives us additional information about this sentence, that at what time we are supposed to set out on our journey. We set out on our journey, the sun having risen. The sun having risen mean when the sun has risen. Well, dear students, now look at appositive phrase. An appositive is a noun or a noun phrase that sits next to another noun to rename it or to describe it in another way. In these examples, the appositives are underlined. Now look at these examples. Number 1. Elizabeth I, the daughter of Henry VIII, became Queen of England in 1558. If you see this sentence and you see this underlined part, the daughter of Henry VIII became Queen of England in 1558. Even then, it is giving us a complete thought. So, the underlined part of a sentence, the daughter of Henry VIII, is also acting as subject of this sentence, or in other words, we can say that it describes the subject in another way. If we read Elizabeth I became Queen of England in 1558, it is a complete sentence giving us a complete thought. But on the other hand, when we read Elizabeth I, the daughter of Henry VIII, now you see this underlined part, the daughter of Henry VIII gives another name to this subject, Elizabeth I. So it is a positive phrase. We should not be confused over here using a positive phrase. A positive phrase is a phrase which gives another name to the subject. Okay? Now, dear students, look at example number 2. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, is often called USA's greatest inventor. If we see this underlined part of a sentence, it is giving another name to this subject, Thomas Edison. Who was Thomas Edison? He was the inventor of the light bulb. He was the inventor of the light bulb. So if we say the inventor of the light bulb is often called USA's greatest inventor, again it is giving us a complete thought. But once we add a positive phrase, it gives another name to the subject. As we see over here in this example, the inventor of the light bulb is giving another name to this subject, Thomas Edison. So it is a positive phrase. Now look at example number 3. Mr. Noman, the dermatologist, is expert doctor. If we read like this, Mr. Noman is expert doctor, it is a complete sentence giving us a complete thought. On the other hand, when we add a positive phrase, the dermatologist, it gives another name to this subject, Mr. Noman. Now look at the last example. The insect, a cockroach, is crawling across the kitchen table. Well, when we say a cockroach, it gives another name to this subject, the insect. You see, there are different types of insects. When we name it like this, a cockroach, it means it has its own identification. So it is giving another name to this subject, the insect. It is used as a positive phrase. Well, dear students, I hope you have got complete idea of phrase and its kinds. If you have any confusion, please get back to me as soon as possible. So inshallah, see you in the next video with another lesson. Take care. Allah Hafiz.